any serious media outlet will be all over this story today. This could be the biggest corruption scandal pre-election we've seen in our lifetime. Is it fair? Is it fair to hear those tapes before the election? Of course the answer is yes. You know, folks, this line about Joe Biden, that, Uncle Joe, the Scranton kid, Notre Dame fighting guy, Scranton kid. Joe's just a really good guy. And, Joe, he's going to be the calming agent, the sedative after the chaotic years of Donald Trump. And let me just say about Donald Trump, too, before I get to this whole myth that's the whole gist of the segment, this myth that Biden is somehow a good guy, as if you'd know that. That is a myth. The case for the Never Trump crowd, the supposedly conservative, dreaded air quotes, Republican Never Trump crowd against Trump, is becoming increasingly ridiculous by the moment. Now, if you're Never Trump because you're a Democrat and a liberal, you have a great case. Trump is conservative and is governed relatively conservative. I would argue in a conservative presidency not rivaled since Ronald Reagan. And I think I can make a very strong case for it, not based on fact. If you're a liberal or a Democrat and you don't like Republican and conservative policies, you're right. You should be Never Trump. No problem at all. You do your thing, we'll do ours. We're not going to convince you. I get that. But for the Republican crowd out there claiming they're Never Trump on principles, your case, now that this third Supreme Court seat is opened up and President Trump's list of people are pretty conservative here, your case against Trump is now ridiculous. Tax cuts, deregulation, getting rid of this racist, critical race theory nonsense, government reforms, Planned Parenthood fights, now potentially 3 Supreme Court justices, hundreds of conservative justices across the appellate and circuit courts. Your case against Trump that you have the SADs and you wet your diaper because of his tweets is absurd now. Would you agree, Joe? Ridiculous. It's childish. I get what you're saying. Yeah. I'm not some people don't like the tweets. Again, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I don't care. Some do. I'm not discrediting. I'm just saying if your principles are conservative, like you say, and you're arguing against Trump on conservative principles, not your feeling about his personality, you're just lying. Because his principles are your principles, whether you like him personally or not. Principles he's governed by. Your case is ridiculous. Now, having said that, I had to get that out of the way because it's been bothering me since yesterday. How these Never Trump guys, like the Lenin Project, otherwise known as the Lincoln Project, with their Russia ties, they're still, I don't even like mentioning their name because they're such clowns. They're still making the Republican case against Trump. There isn't one. Okay? You just admit you're a Democrat and move on. But on to this, again, argument that Joe Biden, he's a good man. He's going to be a nice sedative, a Valium for the country after the years of Donald Trump. He's not a good man, folks, and I'm very sorry to have to tell you that. You know why? Because good men don't do corrupt things. Good men make mistakes. Great men make serious mistakes. But good men don't do corrupt things over and over again. What do I mean by that? There's a fascinating video by Rudy Giuliani, who was on Maria Bartiromo's show on Fox, that got shockingly almost no media play at all. Rudy Giuliani, who knows and has been all over the Hunter Biden corruption case in Ukraine, he does this appearance with Maria Bartiromo. And he starts talking about, remember the tapes? Joe, we played them, the Biden tapes where he's talking to Poroshenko. Again, if you haven't heard of them, if you watch this show, you heard them on the show. If you don't watch this show, you haven't heard them because they were played nowhere. So some leaked tapes of Joe Biden when he was vice president, talking to the Ukrainian president, Poroshenko at the time. We played them on the show. They're devastating. They really lay the groundwork for the Biden corruption in Ukraine, where Biden's kid, Hunter, had a $50,000 plus a month job there, a no-show job for a natural gas company for experience Hunter Biden didn't have while Biden was appointment on Ukraine. Giuliani says, wait for it in this video, that there are more tapes. Remember, because Joe Biden, point man on Ukraine, demanded the prosecutor looking into the company his son Hunter was working for. That prosecutor got fired. Biden's on tape telling people he demanded the prosecutor looking into his son's company get fired. The media doesn't care about this story. Now, wouldn't it be weird if Biden was on tape talking to the president of Ukraine, demanding it was fired? Giuliani says there are more tapes out there. Check this out.
He says it because
we're waiting on Senator
if he ever
Ron
goes
Johnson's
against China, they'll sue him for his money back.
We're waiting for the
Burisma.
Senate
Burisma stinks
report
like
from
hell.
Ron Johnson on Burisma. What are we going to learn about Hunter Biden in Ukraine from this report?
But what you're going to learn is that there was no way that Zlochevsky, the crooked oligarch who paid the Biden family somewhere between 8 and 14 million, was paying for a drug addict, which is what this guy has been. This guy can't function. I don't think he ever showed up in Ukraine. It was a no-show job. So what was the no-show job for? Show's influence. He was the most influential man in Ukraine. He had been put there by Obama. He was giving out all the money. Zlochevsky needed him in order to save his company, and then Biden went ahead and did it, and he bribed Poroshenko. It's on tape. There are 5 witnesses, and there are four recordings of conversations just at the time that the firing took place that have not been released. 4 recordings that will amount to about 2.5 hours of conversations between Biden and Poroshenko. Right. They're all in February of 2016. Those should be released by President Trump. President Trump should declassify them and put them out. I will bet you.
I don't know if we'll get. I don't know if we'll get these.
He goes under if they come out.
I know that.
You haven't heard about that, right? Where was it? Was that on the front page of the New York Times? So just let's change the name for a minute. So let's say Eric Trump is working in Ukraine for a company in a no-show job and getting $50,000+ a month for a company called Burisma that sells natural gas. The owner of that company has a corruption investigation going on against him when he hires Eric Trump, right? Donald Trump, of course, is the president, and he would be the point man in Ukraine, and is on tape with the Ukrainian president, demanding the prosecutor looking into the corruption alleged guy running the company that hired Eric, demanding that prosecutor looking into it be fired. I'm sure that story'd be nowhere. Joe, carpet, right? The story, of course, would be on the front page of every newspaper in America from now till the end of time. From the alpha to the omega, beginning to end, you'd never hear the end of it till Donald Trump was in prison. Eric Trump was bankrupted and in handcuffs. Of course, it's not Eric Trump we're talking about. It's Joe Biden's kid, Hunter. There are more tapes out there. Are we going to see those tapes? See, unlike the Russian collusion hoax, which was dropped before the election in 2016, contrary to what your liberal friends tell you. Hold on, do I have this up here? Because they always say, if they wanted to mess with Trump, I usually keep this up on my phone. Do I have it here? No, I don't. I must have closed it out. But the New York Magazine, I usually keep the article up on my phone, reported on, it was leaked to New York Magazine, the fake Russian collusion hoax before the November 2016 election to damage Trump. You can look that up yourself because the liberals will tell you they didn't try to damage Trump before the election. That investigation happened. All that stuff was leaked afterwards. That's just false. You're just an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. Which is weird because now we have evidence, direct evidence. Giuliani's on, he's not going to go on TV and get sued. He's claiming there's tapes. Trust me, there's tapes of Joe Biden talking to this Ukrainian president, allegedly demanding the prosecutor looking into his son's company with the CEO with some issues with the law get fired so they don't get uncover it. And nobody's concerned. Listen to me. Any serious media outlet, serious, which eliminates almost all of them. Any serious media outlet will be all over this story today. This could be the biggest corruption scandal pre-election we've seen in our lifetime. Is it fair? Is it fair to hear those tapes before the election? Of course the answer is yes. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, is it going to change anybody's mind in this hyper-polarized environment? Honestly, sadly, I have no idea. It might not. Joe Biden is probably on tape talking about some really horrible things, and people dislike this president so much that some of these Democrats don't even care. But is it fair to have the full plate of information before making the most important election decision of your lifetime, the presidential election in your ballot? The answer is, of course it is. And any serious media outlet would recognize that.
You just heard Dan Bongino.